afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor at Madison365 with your daily update for today, Thursday, September 17th, 2020. Wisconsin Leadership Summit is coming up October 5th through 9th. Registration is open now. It's $79 per person for an entire week of panel discussions on a wide range of issues. It's the premier professional development and community building event for people of color and their allies in the state of Wisconsin. I encourage you to check that out, wisconsinleadershipsummit.com. Also, support today for the update comes from Milwaukee Film, presenting the Minority Health Film Festival, now until September 24th at mkefilm.org/MHFF. And support today comes from the City of Madison Complete Count Committee, encouraging you to be counted and to help the city of Madison and the state of Wisconsin be fully counted by filling out the census at my2020census.gov. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and I'm sorry if I'm hard to hear. Am I really hard to hear? I have this fancy new rig full of, here we go. This is why. I appreciate you, Denise, for telling me I was hard to hear. I hope that it's better now, because we bought these, like, look at these. We're getting fancy, folks. They like this little thing on it and everything. And with all this fanciness sitting here, I didn't have the dang thing connected. So it was kind of useless. So I hope you can hear me now. And because I have important news to tell you, and the news that I have to tell you is not particularly good. Things were going very badly last week. We had, over the weekend, we had positive test rates in the 20% range. We were setting records with like more than 1,500 tests per day, positive tests per day. And Stephanie, who does all of our data, said, "What's your prediction for the week?" And I said, "I think we're going to hit 2,000 this week." And she said, "If we do, it'll be late in the week." And here we are. It is late in the week, and we hit 2,000. 2,034, to be exact. Now, that is with 11,400 tests. Are you still having trouble hearing me? Is this thing that's not working? My comments are a bit delayed, so some of you may still be commenting from earlier. 11,400 tests, 2,034 positive results. Those results bring the total case count to 94,746. We will almost certainly hit 100,000 in the next week or so. 10,800 are now considered active. That's about 300 more than yesterday. We don't love that number going up. Prefer to see that going down. That's the highest it's ever been. It has been as low as 4,800 back in June, when things were much better. Thank you, Noah. Now I'm too loud. Technology is great, isn't it? Okay. The positive test rate, here's the other thing that's even worse. You can always say, like, yeah, we have more cases because we did more tests and stuff like that, but that's why we pay attention to the positive test rate. And we don't just pay attention to the positive test rate for a day, because the positive test rate can get thrown off a little bit if, for example, we don't get a lot of negative tests reported. That can inflate the number a little bit. Or if it's just the targeted population is tested, not the general population. So we do want to look at a 7-day rate if we can for the positive test rate. But today, just the test rate for today is 17.7%, which is pretty bad. That's the worst it's been since it was over 20. The 7-day average, or the 7-day positive test rate for the past week is 15.12. 14-day test rate is now 14.5. For perspective, the City of Chicago Health Department didn't officially add Wisconsin to like the travel advisory list, but it did recommend that people from Chicago not travel to Wisconsin. The positive test rate in Illinois is 3.6 for the past 7 days. And that's what it was yesterday. It might be a little different now, but basically under 4. And we're at 15. And we were at 3 and 4% the entire month of June. Like we had this thing taken care of in June. And we went off the rails early July. The other thing to mention, a few other things to mention, our 7-day average of new cases is now 1,409, which is very high, and the 14-day average is actually a little bit lower at 1,184. We did have 4 more fatalities today. Milwaukee County, Outagamie, Shawano, and Sheboygan counties each had 1 more death today. A previously reported death in Menominee County was actually removed from the data. Might have been attributed to the wrong county or something, but the death toll today rises by 3 to 1,231. We've averaged 5.4 deaths per day over the past week, which is actually down a little bit, and 6.3 over the past 2 weeks. Now, here's something interesting. The characteristic of the past few days has been that the infection has been not exactly evenly distributed, but has been very spread out over the entire state. Okay, so we have 36 counties today. Yesterday it was 29. Today's 36 counties. Half of the counties in Wisconsin have 10 or more cases. 5 counties have more than 100. So when you have, it's not, most of the cases, the highest numbers are in the 3 most populous counties, 3 most populous cities at least. 258 here in Dane County. A lot of those, like most of those, are between the ages of 10 and 29. But because of the way the state and the county do this, you have 10 to 19 age, and then 19 to, and then 20 to 29. So you can probably surmise that even the 10 to 19 and the 20 to 29, the bulk of those are going to be 18 to 22, right? Just because it's the University of Wisconsin right now that's driving Dane County. But Brown County, Green Bay, has 196 new cases today. And Milwaukee County has 244. Outagamie County, Appleton, has 141. La Crosse County, EW La Crosse, has 110 today. So it is the highest numbers are in those most populated counties, but you have a lot of counties on here that have either 10 or more. Calumet County has 32 today. Dunn County has 24. Like, that's a lot for Dunn County, right? Eau Claire County has 62. Fond du Lac County has 61. Chippewa County has 13. Forest County has 11. Grant County is 36. That's a lot for Grant County. Kenosha County, 23 is a little better. Kewaunee County has 23. Manitowoc County has 27. Manitowoc County and Ozaukee County both have 27 cases, coincidentally, but they also have more than 100% positive tests, which means they have some number of negative tests that they didn't report, and or they have a bunch of positive tests that were done earlier that are just getting reported today. So it looks like they have more positive tests than total tests. So that's just a data thing. That in both of those 2 counties are small enough that if those were smoothed out, our positive percent of 17.7 for the day would go down slightly, but not very much. But again, that's why you look at the 7-day, not just the 1 day. What else? St. Croix County has 18. Vernon County, I'm not sure that Vernon County has ever been on this list, but they have 10 new cases today. Wood County has 11. Walworth County has 50. Washington County is 57. You can see, if you look on the website right now, Madison365.org, you can see this entire list, including their percentages of positive tests, which are almost all very high. Almost all of these are over 10. Several are over 20. Then a couple are over 100. So don't put too much weight on that. But most of these are going to be pretty close to accurate. Hospitalization data for today had not yet been updated when I published the story, but I can take a look and see what it is today. The hospitalizations did go up yesterday. Yesterday we had 370 people hospitalized, which was 27 more than Tuesday. And this is good news. Today we have 347. So we went up yesterday. The number of people hospitalized went up yesterday and went back down today. It went down by 23, which is good. There's still 43 more than a week ago. And again, the hospitalizations is not, hospital capacity is not the issue. Like we're not at the place yet where we're overrunning the hospitals or unable to provide care because of the hospitals overcrowded or anything like that. We just keep track of that because it tells us how severe the illness is, and kind of we can see a certain number of cases one day, and then 2 weeks later, how many of those are hospitalized, and you can get a sense of how severe the illness is. So for that sense, the fact that it went down from yesterday to today is pretty good. But the fact that it's up over the past week, not so good. Our rate of transmission, and then I'll get to some questions here. I see a couple questions are coming in. 1.18 today, which is slightly lower than yesterday. Yesterday it was 122. We are now sixth highest in the nation. We've slipped. 2 days ago, we were number one. Then yesterday we were, 2 or 3, I think, if I remember right. And then today we're sixth. What that means is every 100 people who are infected have infected 118 more people. And that's an estimated number based on all the other data. Run through an algorithm and it spits out that number. So it's descriptive of what's happening in the world. It's not really predictive of what will happen tomorrow, but it's still a good number to keep an eye on. And it's usually bad when it's over 1. I mean, it's always bad when it's over 1. Okay, Shannon asks, do we know how many people ages 16 to 24 have been hospitalized? I don't think that we do, because as I was mentioning before, every metric is broken up 10 to 19, 20 to 29. So we know roughly. I don't have it in front of me. What I'll do, I'll look up those age groups, and after I'm done here, I'll reply to your comment with an answer. Unfortunately, they don't break it down to straddle those two age groups. Public Health Madison-Dane County has started once a week, not every day, but once a week, offering number of new cases between 18 and 22, right? Maybe 18 and 24, just to get a sense as to, those are probably UW students. But in terms of number of hospitalized, I don't think we have that. So, but I'll comment to answer your question. Norma asked, should we put pressure on Chancellor to shut down university? Depends what you mean by shut down the university. They basically have shut down the university in terms of in-person classes, which is interesting because at the media briefing the other day, the chancellor said that there had not been any transmission in class. She didn't say how they knew that. And she didn't say if that's the case, if it's true that nobody has transmitted the virus in class, why are they going to all online classes? Like if class isn't the problem, why do that? I don't know. I don't think, this is just personal opinion with no epidemiological expertise, but I don't think it's responsible to shut down the university and send everybody home, because there's a whole bunch of kids on campus who are already now infected and don't know it. And we don't want to send them back to spread it in their hometowns necessarily. I think we'd rather just quarantine them in the dorms, even though that's really terrible for them. There might be a case at some point to do that. I'm not sure it's the best thing right now. I think Corey's saying that we might be okay for football. Yeah, it is. Of course, there are entire countries with case counts lower than our state, which is true. Although some of those countries had higher ones before, and we're just behind by a couple months. It is discouraging that we're actively attempting. I, I think many leaders would say that we are attempting to turn it around, but I would say, um, it's you're hard pressed to make a case that anyone in government leadership is really attempting. I mean, PHMDC is doing a lot. I think PHMDC is trying. I think DHS is trying. Um, they're not being helped by this court system, and they're certainly not being helped by the legislature. The state legislature could do a lot here, and the leadership there just does not see a role for state government in stopping this. Which that's a philosophical um, stance, I guess. That's their philosophical position that this is not for the state to solve. It's for local governments to some extent, and it's for individuals to solve. So they are not interested in making any governmental effort. Shannon, to answer your question, Stephanie has commented here that Stephanie, our data champion, who's awesome, one hospitalization today for age 10 to 19 and 9 for 20 to 29. Those are new hospitalizations today. I don't think we know how many are currently hospitalized by age group necessarily, but those are new today. We also know that the University of Wisconsin reported that there was one student who had been hospitalized yesterday. It was also Joe Parisi yesterday said that 88% of students who tested positive showed symptoms. I didn't see any documentation for that number, and we don't know what they mean by symptoms. Does it mean is that documented COVID symptoms, or is that like I coughed yesterday? We don't know. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock in that number. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions here. This my new setup is funny in that my computer's very far away, so I can't look at the comments. I got to look at my phone. Health departments are trying. Yes, Corey says health departments are trying. Nothing critical to say about PHMDC. PHMDC has been, I will say, very responsive to inquiries. They really do want accurate information out into the public. And PHMDC, Public Health Madison-Dane County, I can't speak for them, or I don't want to impart feelings onto a government agency, but boy, they seem annoyed at UW. They really, I mean, Joe Parisi urged the county executive basically asked the chancellor to close the campus and send everybody home, which would help Dane County's numbers, but would probably hurt the rest of the state. So I understand why they don't want to do that. But when now football is happening, which to me, football, obviously they'll spend a lot of money doing daily antigen tests for the players. There's some suggestion that maybe those tests would be better used on healthcare workers or other individuals, other high-risk individuals, rather than healthy people who are supposed to play a game for our entertainment. But sorry if I think my internet dropped for a second there. Sorry. I appreciate you sticking with me, even though I might be a little choppy. Okay, I think I'm back. Stephanie's texting me data to answer the question. Anyway, let me finish my point about football. To me, it's not so important that the players be taken care of, although it is important. I don't. If they're outdoors, if they're careful, if they're being taken care of properly, the risk there is not as high. My concern is people gathering in bars to watch games. Now, I don't know that sports is happening. The Brewers are playing. There's soccer. Fort Madison's playing. MLS is happening. And I don't know about if people are gathering for those games, but I know for college football, tailgating and going to a bar and watching the game is kind of part of the thing. Um, and that's what concerns me even more than the players getting sick, to be honest with you. Now, there's a question. Who had that question? Tommy G has a question. Local private schools returning to in-person classes, have any cases or trends come out of that? And not that I'm aware of specifically, but I can tell you, Steph has just sent me this. September 1st to 14th, 78 cases who were children. So that's 3% of all cases for that 2-week period. So not a big number. Like, children under the age of 17 make up something like 25% of the population of Dane County. So for only 3% of cases to be children is actually way below their proportion of the population. So I would say that schools being open has not had a significant impact in cases among children. We don't know is whether any staff have been affected in those schools. Again, a lot of those schools just opened a week ago, so we won't know that. We won't start to see the impact for another few days, probably. But we'll keep an eye on it, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Tommy. If I don't see any more questions, I will mention a couple other things on the website today. The YWCA Madison Racial Justice Summit is coming up September 29th through October 1st, sorry. September 29th through October 1st. That's the YWCA. It's a local Madison thing. It's going to be virtual this year, just like everything else is. It's right before the Wisconsin Leadership Summit, so it's a good maybe warm-up for the Wisconsin Leadership Summit. We got a preview of that. Some bad news out of Centro Hispano. It's Hispanic Heritage Month, starting September 15th. September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month, in case you didn't know. It's tied. It celebrates all things Latino, but it's tied to Mexican Independence Day, which is September 15th. And it's really unfortunate that for the first time in its history, which goes back to the early 1980s, Centro Hispano had to cancel its annual gala. I don't know. We don't know a lot of the detail in the background, but it's sure to do something with pandemic, right, and resources and things like that. But they are replacing it with basically a fundraising push. So rather than a gala, which they always have, which is always lots of fun and very colorful and wonderful event, they're replacing. They can't do the gala. They're not going to do it virtually. They were going to do it like virtual, but they can't. So they have a goal to fill a virtual room raising $50,000 by October 31st. So you can get in on that if you go to Madison365.org right now. That story is still on the front page as well. Okay, that's everything I have for you today. I'm going to make sure I don't have any more questions or comments. Okay. I think we're good. Thank you so much for your attention. If you appreciate what we do here, I say it every time, but I'm not happy when the news is bad. You might think that if the news is terrible, more people will watch and more people will click and stuff like that. And we're a nonprofit. We don't do that. We don't do it that way. And we will never But this is important information, whether it's good or bad. It's important that you know it, so you can make the right decisions about your family and whether or not you want to send your kids to school or go back to work or whatever it is. So it's important to us that we not charge for access to the news. We feel like everybody deserves to be informed. And as part of living and being a part of this community is being well informed about this community. And we are members of this community, and we serve you, keeping you informed. And if I roll my head like this, I just realized I have Mickey Mouse ears. The point I'm making is that we won't charge you for the news, and it'll always be free, but it's not free to produce. Everything you see on our website is produced by professional journalists who get paid to do that work. And so we come to you, to the community, to help us fund it. So if you go to Madison365.org/donate, if you can afford to add a few dollars to our bottom line, we'd very much appreciate that. We are officially nonprofit. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so your donations are tax deductible. And again, and starting in November, you're welcome to donate now, of course, but starting in November, your donations will be matched through the News Match program, which is a program of the Democracy Fund. So if you want to hold off until then and do even more good with your donation, that's fine too. Thank you again for your attention, and have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you again tomorrow.